a lot of people around the world, especially in the US, wonder how do people get to live in such amazing homes like this. And I'm actually going to tell you how to do it. The number one tip that we're going to start out with is optimism. Because if you believe that something is actually possible and actually work on achieving it, it can actually be done. It's kind of funny because optimism is actually even more important than competence. Because there are a lot of people you see in high-ranging positions. I won't name some of them, but you know who they are. They just had the nerve to say, you know what, I'm going to do this, even maybe I'm not capable. They had the confidence. That was what got them to the top. So that's the number one thing that you need to do, confidence. The second major thing is never rely on politicians to provide you favors. Even though you have a lot of rich liberals who say, oh, we gotta do this and do that, they themselves rarely usually relied on some government handout in order to get wealthy. They had to actually satisfy something that customers want. It's not only about what they wanted, but they thought, what do customers want? And they actually thought, you know what, other people probably are not doing it so well, so they were able to beat them. That's what allows people to live in such remarkable areas like this. And even FedEx, that's a great business that they came up with. They solved the problem that people objectively had, and that's why some people live in here. They get packages. And if you also want to be wealthy, the most important thing is to produce a good service that's completely different from whatever someone else has done in the past. I could rattle off a million examples of this. You could have AOL in the early 1990s. No one else had a great graphical user interface that anybody could use, and it was simple to use. Today you have companies like Tesla. Most electric cars were pretty ugly looking. He thought, oh, why don't I just make it really hip and cool, and actually is almost looks like a Porsche in some ways. Then you have a lot of people in the Silicon Valley area. They're always doing something completely new. That's what people have conventions for things like the Consumer Electronics Show, because you've never seen the stuff that they're showing, and they're going to make a ton of money, especially in the early era of the cycle of the product, because people really want this. Like GoPro is another example. No one else has had all those kind of sports cams to do all kinds of things. So if the story is you got to do something that no one's ever done before, then people will really buy your product. If you're trying to create a different kind of just the same kind of toothbrush, that's probably not going to work, because everybody has the typical regular toothbrush. But like I use a Sonicare that's very different. So if you want to make money, gotta be different. Okay, and another thing that wealthy people and very successful people do is they don't respond to these crazy emails from people in Ghana telling them they're gonna get like $1 million if they put money in their account, and they don't think that they're gonna win big money in Las Vegas. That's just not. How many people on the billionaire list made it through casinos? None. And that's not the way it's done. You have to actually use your brain. You can't just say, oh, the idea is going to come to me, someone's going to randomly email me that I've never met before, and they're going to offer me $1 million. That's not the way the real world works. Maybe your fantasy works that way, but it just doesn't. You have to actually have a plan where you're setting it up and actually thinking about how you're going to achieve it. It's just not going to come to you by email or a casino. Okay, one other successful technique that a lot of successful people have done is read Atlas Shrugged. In this book, it's a book about showing how individuals pursuing their own self-interest are in a world where that's really mocked and looked down upon. Actually, sort of similar to the world we're in. And in this book, it actually encourages people who have motivation, intelligence, and self-esteem to really pursue their objectives. So ironically enough, you could probably do a lot better actually than going to college and majoring in like something like women's studies or some worthless BS degree like that. Instead, you would actually get more of an education, probably reading Alice Shrugged and using the insights provided in that book to actually achieve real success. And now we're an example of real genius and individualism is Frank Lloyd Wright house. And this is a man who really did not follow convention. He really had his own ideas of how to make property or make architecture, and he just followed his own path. So he had to use his reason and intelligence and judgment to come up with his conclusions about what is the best possible architecture. And in fact, Ayn Rand even suggested, indirectly comments on him in The Fountainhead, because the story is about an individualist architect. Some people say is based upon Frank Lloyd Wright. So let's see, what are some of the key successes of him? Well, he didn't major in women's studies. I told you all, you cannot major in that. That's not the key to success. Second, he didn't rely on the government to give him a handout or to subsidize his stuff. 3, he was optimistic. He actually believed in his own vision. He didn't just he wasn't pessimistic. He didn't say, "Oh, the sky is falling." So that's a definitely key attribute. Number 4, well, I actually didn't read his biography or anything like that, but I'm assuming he was not a super gambler. I don't think he like went to Las Vegas casinos and wanted to give all of his money away. So that was another thing. And then number 5, he delivered something completely new and different. You don't see a lot of properties like this around. I mean, most properties today is what I call a corporate to contemporary kind of housing, and also Roman columns. Most houses have these. He did not follow that. He had his own vision. So, in conclusion, this is a great example of what I was talking about throughout this whole video. If you want that kind of success, you can do it. There's never usually anybody over here, but it's definitely crowded around here because everyone's following the tips I made in this video on how to get wealthy, so now this area is all busy.